Hello, good morning and welcome to Edinburgh, welcome back to the channel and welcome to today's video. Today we are back on board with Transpennine Express on one of their services from here down the west coast to Lancaster in Lancashire. Now I have read on the Transpennine website that they do in fact now do a cooked breakfast on their first class services on the west coast between here, the Scottish capital, Glasgow, Manchester and Liverpool. And as I have built up a bit of an appetite this morning, I am fairly hungry. I certainly hope they do. So with all that said, and avoiding all breakfast outlets between here and the station, let's head back to Waverley, find our platform and catch our train down to the west coast, and I'll see you a little later on. Bye for now. Hello, good morning and welcome to Edinburgh, the capital of Scotland. Welcome back to the channel and welcome to today's video. That's right, today we are back on board with Transpennine Express for the sole purpose of sampling their cooked breakfast, something which is new to me. And as I've been up since 5 AM to get to Edinburgh, which is a miracle in itself being the day after the night before, where Newcastle beat Benfica, I am so hungry and I'm looking forward to getting on board. Anyway, that's enough of my own self-pity. Let's get straight to the train station of Edinburgh Waverley. On the approach to Waverley Station is Waverley Market. Although most shops here have relocated to the nearby New Mall at St James's Quarter, there are still a few shops remaining, but they are mainly food outlets. As we have departed from Waverley a number of times, I'll bypass the boring history lessons and we'll head straight inside the station. On the main concourse you find the station's usual suspects. There's standalone ticket machines for both LNER and ScotRail, large electronic departure screens, and a number of shops and eateries are dotted throughout. If you are passing through, make sure you stick your head in the old ticket hall, which is stunning. The travel centre has been relocated from the old ticket hall to opposite platform number 4, and access to LNER's first class lounge can now be found across platform number 5. Okay, time to battle with the gate line. Today I am on the 10:11 service heading towards Manchester Airport, departing from platform 13, but as previously stated, I'm only going as far as Lancaster. Now, we have covered these units on the channel before, but for completeness I'll run through it again. Today's rolling stock is a 5-car long Class 397, which Transpennine Express have branded Nova 2. The Class 397 is an electrical multiple unit built by Spanish rolling stock manufacturer CAF. They were constructed between 2017 to 2019 and have been in service since the 30th of November 2019. A total of 12 5-car units were built to operate on services on Transpennine Express's northwest routes, and they have a top speed of 125 miles an hour or 200 kilometers an hour. Okie dokie, time to hop on board. First class is laid out in a 2+1 configuration with mainly table seats.
Disabled passengers in mind should be units.
And there it is on the top right, a regional breakfast. I'll also leave a link to the full menu in the description. So the last thing to do before departure is to check out today's route. Departure from Edinburgh was on time at 10:11. Travel time to Lancaster is just over 2 hours 15 minutes and we're due to arrive in the Lancashire city at just before 12:30 this afternoon. First up after a couple of minutes is Haymarket. Located in the west end of the city, the station serves as a major commuter and long distance destination. Trains from the station serve most of Scotland, including Inverness, Fife and Glasgow, as well as suburban lines to the east. It is also the 5th busiest station in Scotland. Carstairs Junction, where the Edinburgh section of the West Coast Main Line meets up with the Glasgow to London route. From here it's southbound as we pass through the southern uplands, which offers some spectacular scenery. And here we are, the main event: Cumberland sausage, bacon, black pudding, beans and a sort of Spanish omelette. All very nice and all very welcome. The last stop in Scotland is Lockerbie, located in the southwest in Dumfries and Galloway. The town came to international attention in December 1988 when the wreckage of Pan Am Flight 103 crashed following a terrorist attack. The station was opened on the 10th of September 1847. It is managed by ScotRail, despite ScotRail not providing any services to or from the station. Lockerbie is also one of only two national railway stations in Scotland not served by ScotRail trains, the other being Reston on the East Coast Main Line.
Lancaster, Preston, Bolton, Manchester Oxford Road, Manchester Piccadilly.
As we head towards England, the scenery flattens out. After crossing the border and rivers Eden and Esk, we arrive into the English city of Carlisle. Change here for services to London Euston via the West Coast Main Line, to Hexham and Newcastle via the Tyne Valley Line, to Leeds via the Settle to Carlisle Line, and services to Barrow in Furness. About 10 minutes after leaving Carlisle, we arrive at Penrith North Lakes. Change here for Windermere and the Lake District. A massive thank you to my patrons for their ongoing support: Madame Dorothy, Chieli, Dr. Paul Harper, Gary, Clark, Peter Harrison, Stormhammer Firebrand, Ken and John. Between Penrith and the next stop of Oxenholme, the scenery becomes a lot more dramatic as we skirt past the Lake District.
Yeah, of course you can, yeah.
Yeah, that's perfect. No, good.
Yeah, I'll tell you whatever you fancy.
Yeah, that's good.
Okay.
Perfect. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, sir. Smart as well, darling, yeah? No problem.
The penultimate stop of the day is Oxenholme. Initially, the railway was earmarked to pass through the nearby town of Kendal. However, a 2.1 mile tunnel would have had to be built north of the town to accommodate this route. As this was deemed too expensive an option, a line running 1 mile east of Kendal was adopted, and the line between Lancaster and Oxenholme was opened in 1846. As we are now fast approaching our final destination, Lancaster, I'll take a moment to sum up this video, but please remember that these are just my own opinions. So first things first, we'll start with the reason why we're here, the onboard catering. I know first class these days is nothing like yesteryear, something on which I can't comment on, but what I can say is over the few years that I've been doing this channel, Transpennine Express have gone from absolute rock bottom to actually offering a really good first class product. The coach itself offered a nice and relaxed vibe, the seats were extremely comfortable, the lights on the table offered a little bit of class, and complimentary service was excellent. There was plenty of drinks on offer, both hot and cold throughout, as well as snacks and of course a cooked breakfast, which always goes down well with me. So what did all this cost? £42 for a one-way ticket with a railcard discount of a third. The ticket was booked about a week in advance, and for a 2.5 hour journey with what's on offer, I do find that's good value for money. So would I recommend Transpennine Express's first class breakfast product on the West Coast routes? Absolutely 100% I would. Only is it a great service, you get to eat breakfast whilst travelling through the Scottish Southern Uplands and England's Lake District, which offers some of the best views. So with all that said, thank you so much for joining me on this journey, and I do hope you enjoyed the video. If you are new to the channel or haven't yet, then please do hit that subscribe button. But until next time, until our paths cross again, do take care, stay safe. Thanks again for watching. Bye for now. Good luck with the operation, mate.
Thank you very much.
Right, ta-ra.
Cheers, thank you.